Good day, friends. This is a voice-only video because a face is just a distraction. First of all, thank you for being here. Your presence is very much appreciated. If the content will be of your liking, please consider subscribing and giving us a like. Today, I am asking, why pray? Praying. Does it work or not? I have prayed a lot for the epidemic to end and for the war to stop. The other evening, I was joined by many others. I am praying, you are praying, others have joined in prayer, and many more will join in the future. Does anything actually happen? Is anything actually changing? We keep asking ourselves the same question. What use is there in praying? Let's see some reasons to keep praying or to begin if you don't already do so. A basic principle is that praying is not reciting prayers. Reciting by heart might have been fine when you were 10 years old, but as you grow, your intellect grows, prayers should evolve, and your faith should follow suit. Praying is also not experiencing strong emotions in your belly. That's something else. It is also not finding a peaceful moment like you would with meditation, nor is it active relaxation. Praying is entering in contact with the Almighty. Note that every contact with the Lord is a prayer, but not every prayer is a contact with God. Prayers are not works of magic. If we ask God to stop the pandemic or this war, certainly we could not expect the skies to open and it would just begin raining angels with vaccines against COVID or angels with machine guns to stop the war. The Pope is not Albus Dumbledore and the Buddha is not Harry Potter. And no one has a magic wand. Prayer does not change reality. But prayer changes you. You will change. Like sunbathing on the beach. If you expose yourself to the sun long enough, you will change. You will get tanned. The same way, if you stay in God's light long enough, you will be transfigured. I promise you, it's all true. When you feel deeply loved, it changes you. It shows. It will light a spark in your eyes. Your face muscles will relax and stress will be lifted from your shoulders. You will feel good and it will show. Now, we shouldn't think that the Lord would lead our life on our behalf or do things for us. Prayer does not change reality. It changes you when you pray. You change when you pray. So, why pray? 3 basic reasons. The first one, prayer changes your point of view. Sometimes our lives feel messy, probably due to the fact that we're looking at our problems from too close up, too entangled in our own stuff. Eventually, it will all look unsurmountable. It might appear trivial to others, but to us, it's big stuff. If you want to understand something about your life, at a certain point, you have to get a wider perspective. Distance yourself from what is going on and try to get a different angle. This allows to give meaning to your experience, even to the most absurd things like this pandemic and the war. Prayer is like climbing to a high spot, entering in contact with God, and getting a glimpse of His viewpoint. It's like looking at our existence through His eyes. And let me tell you, it's definitely worthwhile. The second reason is that praying changes your attitude. If you experience God, if you feel God's eyes watching over you, if you feel the Almighty's love, this changes you. It gives you a tremendous boost to approach life. You might be tired, discouraged, disappointed, or flat out depressed. You can be the most miserable person with the biggest void inside. But if you pray, you will find yourself in front of someone who loves you. Like a loving father, He takes you arm in arm, He listens to you and tells you, know that you are bigger than your pain, and you are not your wounds or your sadness, nor are you your problems. You are unique and special. Maybe you're not living as well as you could. Come back to your life. Remember who you are, how much you are loved, and resume living. If the prayer is sincere and one returns to his occupation, be it a doctor doing rounds in a hospital or a politician in parliament or just a parent, one returns with a completely different attitude. We return energized, full of hope, and when you meet someone who gets on your nerves, you will be able to better behave towards them too. 3. The decisive issue with prayer is that it changes your heart. Prayer gives you the heart of a child. You can be anyone, rich and powerful, the CEO of a Fortune 500 company, or the head of state of the most powerful nation, or the wealthiest of rappers. But in the eyes of God, we're all small. We're all His children who do not always believe that they can do it all on their own with their soul strength. Those that do not believe, those that do not understand, or those that know it all, that know what life is about, not us. Those of us who do not pretend to always be on top of everything that happens to us. Every now and then, we need a steady hand that supports us and gives us hope and courage. When you were a child, did you not turn to mom and dad when you encountered difficulties? For those that believe, it is normal to turn to God, especially now that reality is so hard to face and so difficult to grasp. Of course, non-believers might say that this attitude is just an illusion, that we invent to console ourselves, and may even have forgotten when they were little and in times of difficulties, they trusted mom and dad would be there to help them. Even if he could have managed by himself, he knew that his parents were there, and that changed everything. Having those that we love next to us changes everything. So, finally, what is the use in praying? Prayer is needed to maintain contact with God, to the point of receiving the gift of His presence in your outlook, in your attitude, and in your heart. In theological terms, prayer can give you access to the deepest terms of God's presence. If we were to pray God that He does away with this pandemic and this horrible war, essentially we are asking Him that He do that through us and through the other people of goodwill whose outlook, attitude, and heart have been changed by prayer. If you believe to be able to stand in face of the world with your strength alone, if you believe you know how to deal with every issue, then there's no need or use in you praying. Easily, don't bother. It would only be a waste of time. But if, on the other hand, you are convinced that you can do better and do more, starting with yourself, then prayer will do so much for you. Prayer will change your life, and from there on, it will change the lives of those around you. Saint Ignatius of Loyola said, "Pray as if everything depended on God, and act as if everything depends on you." All depends from us, but history is in the hands of God. With His help, all is possible. Peace. This is Motivation and Inspiration in the Dark, and that is all I have for you today. Thank you. If you appreciate this channel, please consider pressing the like button, subscribing, and maybe sharing with a friend.